Welcome to another YouTube video. I am here at the embalming table in my house, and we're going to do another video about Nosferatu. I don't know if you saw the vlog from last week, hopefully you did, but Jessica and Brody and I went to the cinema to watch the new Nosferatu from 2024. I mean, obviously, they're probably not playing the old one. I wish they were, but anyways. I didn't really say anything about it at the time because I needed some time to process it. And I was actually surprised at the amount of people that commented underneath and how mixed the comments were. This is the thing. I would say you can go back and read the comments yourself. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people hated it. People were saying what they liked, what they didn't like, whatever. But we filmed the end of that video directly after we got out of that movie. And I honestly, you'll see at the end of the video, I said that I felt like I needed some more time to kind of process and, talk about it all the way home to really see how I felt about it. And because this is, I never thought there would be a remake of Nosferatu because I am a big silent horror movie fan. And I actually planned this morning when I woke up, I literally planned on wearing something very dramatic and roby with belt sleeves and having the Death Hawk and doing smoky eyes and all that. And instead I ended up in my punk rock jacket and this officer's hat. But I did put on the Nosferatu. I did put on the Nosferatu shirt for all of you. So that's my contribution to the Nosferatu thing because the outfit didn't work this morning and I ended up with multicolor eyes and this mess that you see before you today. So I am a big silent horror movie fan. I love the original Nosferatu. I love The Phantom Carriage, Haxan, Vampire. These are some of my favorite silent horror films. If you haven't seen those, by the way, please do. Those are all excellent recommendations. I watched the silent Nosferatu quite a lot. I have the regular version and I have the version with the Type O Negative soundtrack because I'm a big Type O Negative fan. I don't love it with the Type O Negative soundtrack. I'm not going to lie. I like these two things, but I also like Kraft Dinner and honey. And I don't necessarily think those things should go together either. So it's kind of like that. It's two things that I really like, but I don't feel like they mesh that well. But I do. It's fun that I own it. And sometimes I put it on when I just want to listen to Type O Negative and it's just on in the background, whatever. But I do watch the original version more often. Love it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I've watched it dozens and dozens of times. And going to see the new one at the theater, I didn't know if that would be a help or a hindrance. I have also seen the one from the 70s, which is good. I do not personally like that one as much as the one from 1922. I know there was people in the comments of my previous video saying that they really like the 70s one. And don't get me wrong, I really like the 70s one as well. I just don't like it as much as the one from 1922. So how does this all math out in my head? I don't know. I've honestly been debating the order 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How would I put them? And I'm not sure. There's things that I like about each of them, and I'm not really sure how to weigh that because they're obviously very different films. If I'm being honest, and this is your warning, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, maybe watch this after you have seen it because I'm going to say some stuff that happened in the movie that will tell you some things. If you haven't seen it, go watch it first, come back. Or if you don't care if I ruin it for you, then keep on watching. But my taste in vampire films is very classic, I'm going to say, up to sort of the 90s. So here are some vampire films I like. I love Hammer vampire films starring Christopher Lee. I love, obviously, Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992 with Gary Oldman is one of my favorite films of all time. My God, I love that film, and I can't tell you how many times I've watched it. Interview with the Vampire, like I said, from the silent film era. These are the kind of vampire films that I like. Vampire films I don't like, Twilight. If you're a Twilight fan, just leave. Just go. Watch a different video. There will be no glitter. There is no Edward Cullen. It's not happening. Do not like Twilight. Did not like 30 Days of Night at all. That felt like a zombie film, but they just said it was vampires. I really didn't like that. I don't like the ones that are really gore and horror heavy. I like the ones that are more dramatic and atmospheric and gothically beautiful and all that. That's more my jam in vampire films. So, and I found that the new one, the one from 2024 that we just watched, was kind of had elements of both. Honestly, when I started watching it, I went in neutral. I didn't want to put super high expectations on it. So I went in pretty neutral. And then I started watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing. This is amazing." Like, cinematically beautiful. Acting, top notch. Sets, ugh. And they definitely made references to Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I appreciated. They made references to the Phantom Carriage, which I appreciated. There was a lot of like classic horror references, and it just kept going up and up and up. And up until about 3/4 of the way through the film, I was like, this is incredible. This is like blowing my mind. This is going to be like one of my. I'm going to buy this on DVD and I'm going to watch it like once a week, just like I do Bram Stoker's Dracula. I figured this was going to be my new like watch all the time kind of movie, and then it started to lose me. I'm not going to lie. It's not that I disliked it. I did not. I still think it's an excellent film, but when they started in with the weird like he's a demon and there was some like weird exorcist kind of like possession-y kind of stuff, I was like, it feels like that was maybe for like a different movie. I understand that was like his own original take and making the story different rather than just retelling the same thing. I understand that. I appreciate that. But it just wasn't for me because I'm not really about those kind of films. I've seen like The Exorcist and that, and it's just really not my jam. So I was like, there's vampires and then there's like paranormal like demon possession, and those to me should be different films. So when that stuff started happening, I was kind of like, oh, you went from like here down to like here. I don't love that quite as much. And then there was some things that kind of bugged me about it. I know there's been a lot of discussion on the internet about his mustache. I found the mustache very jarring personally. I didn't, but I'm not, it's not a make or break for me. Like, would I have given him a mustache? Absolutely not. But I did read some like behind the scenes stuff from the director, and he was like, well, noblemen of that time, any male that is old enough to grow facial hair, like would have. So, like, obviously that would be like period accurate along with his like costumes. I understand that. However, here's my problem. Here's my main problem with the mustache. Past the fact that I personally did not aesthetically like it, if he was a real nobleman of that time at some point, he would have had head hair. He also would have had pubic hair. And because we all saw the Nosferatu junk, we are very aware that his pubic hair has clearly rotted off. His head hair has clearly rotted off. And yet somehow he manages to retain this like gloriously full, like sideshow mustache. That doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, the man is essentially like a rotting corpse. Like he was a true movie monster, and yet somehow big, thick, luxurious mustache, which I found kind of not like, it didn't feel like it went very well for me, but that's neither here nor there. Some people like the mustache, a lot of people don't. Clearly, I'm kind of one of the don't people, but it also doesn't bother me enough to make like a make or break for the film. I also like my vampire films with like a little bit of like debonair stuff. Like I like it with, a little bit of that Gary Oldman kind of flair, a little bit of the romance, and they categorized him as her demon lover, but there was no like love involved. And I do understand that love and sex are different things, but it didn't feel like she would be having sex with someone that she wasn't, like it wasn't like a relationship, right? So that kind of also didn't make sense to me. I don't I don't know. Like honestly, up until about 3/4 of the way through the film, I was like, this is like a 9, 9.5 out of 10. Like this is fucking incredible. Like I'm here for this. I can't believe how good this is. And then it kind of started to slip, and I would say it went down to like a 6.5, 7 for me, based on when they started with their exorcist style bullshit. And there was some pretty shocking gore for me. I'm not a gore person. I know it's not a lot in the way of modern horror films, but I'm really not a gore person. But some of the like spit, like the spit coming out of the mouth was like a lot, and like the blood, like the ripping of the pigeon, all of that was quite a lot for me. Also, I don't think that the like casual thrown in necrophilia like added anything. Um, I'm not a prude, whatever. I mean, if you've ever seen the movie Kissed, it is a Canadian film that is specifically entirely about necrophilia, and it is very tastefully done. I highly recommend it. Please watch Kissed if you haven't already, starring Molly Parker. Gorgeous, gorgeous film. I love it. But I didn't think it added anything to the Nosferatu plague. Yes, the man was fucked up, his wife died, whatever. I assumed he was going to climb into the coffin and die. And then he was like, oh, I need to kiss you one last time. And I was like, okay, you're going to kiss your wife. You're going to lay down beside her and you're going to die. You did not need to fuck the corpse. That did not add anything to the film, in my opinion. Um, there's also been a lot of talk about the fact that there was full male nudity from Nosferatu. I personally appreciated that because there very rarely is male nudity in films, right? There's like You've got your tons of female nudity. There's boobs all over the place. There's bush all over the place. Women are naked all the time. Men are very rarely naked. So I thought, hey, tit for tat. That's very cool that they included that. That's a very bold thing to do. I didn't like love it or anything, but I thought that's kind of cool that they included that because it's something so very rarely seen. Um, I still don't know. I've talked about this for probably about 10 minutes and I can't still rank the order of these. I will tell you that my number one is still the silent film. The classic will always be my favorite. I am a silent horror fan through and through. As for the 70s one and this one, they're kind of doing this. They're kind of like flip-flopping back and forth because I like them for like different reasons. I don't know. Have you seen all three? And what is your order for them? I'm very interested to have like a full discussion about this and to hear everything you guys have to say. A lot of people in the comments before, one of the main things that I heard about why people didn't like it was that it was very slow paced. They were like, it was boring, it was slow, that kind of thing. I never even noticed that myself because of the type of films I watch. I am very used to slow pacing, and I also have a monster attention span, so it didn't read as slow or boring to me in any way because I don't watch a lot of modern films. I certainly don't watch action films, anything like that. So I personally didn't find it slow or boring at all. I found it mesmerizing and engaging, but as I said, there were also some things like I didn't love. So please, in the comments, tell me what you thought of this. Tell me your ranking of the three of them if you've seen them, 1, 2, 3, if you can. And also tell me like if you didn't like it or you did like it, what you liked, what you didn't like about it. And I don't know, I'm super interested. I do need to watch it again, absolutely. I've thought about it a lot. I rewatched the trailers a bunch of times. I read a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. I still have pretty mixed feelings, if I'm being honest. I'm a big vampire film fan, obviously, like Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, like these are my guys. They do a lot of like kind of horror films involving that kind of stuff, and I'm absolutely fucking here for it. But the fact that I went to the cinema to watch a modern horror and did not hate it says quite a lot. I didn't love it either, but I didn't hate it. I think they did okay. For me, 6.5, 7 out of 10. How do you feel? Rank it out of 10 in the comments. I want to hear about it. You guys, if you haven't seen this film, you should. You absolutely should go see it. It's definitely worth a watch, whether or not you like it. It is cinematically beautiful, shit ton of work, amazing acting, great costumes. Except, I'm going to put my one pet peeve in, and any of you sewing bitches out there, you let me know if you saw this. There's a shot where she walks away from the camera and she's wearing this brown dress and it has chevron stripes in the back and they don't match up. They're lined up like that. They're skewed. And it took me right out of the film. And I was like, oh my God, all this money and you didn't even match up your fucking pattern on the dress. Like, who sewed this? A drunk monkey? Like, that particular scene literally like ripped me right back to my seat in the cinema and took me out of the film because I was so distracted by the fact that the sewing pattern did not match. But that's neither here nor there. That is my own personal little weird head goblins about that shit. So I hope you like this video. I hope you've seen Nosferatu. Give me all the comments. I want to hear all of your thoughts. I'm super fucking invested in this. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Do you agree with my opinion? I'm curious. Let me know. If you want to follow me on any of the social medias, I'm going to put them all below. All the things. I feel like that's it. Like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I have a Patreon if you want to join my Patreon. I write weekly, sort of weekly, no, semi-weekly, periodic. I write periodic updates on my sewing stuff, and you can listen to me swear about all the things I am sewing. I also have a Ko-fi. If you want to support me on Ko-fi, you can just donate to my sewing projects. That would be amazing. And I will see you all around for my next video, whatever that will be. Probably not about Nosferatu, because I think I'm done talking about this, but like, I'm really interested. Comment, you guys. I want to hear it. What did you think? Let me know.